Hey, happy Wednesday. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. We're very, very excited for today's session or this episode. Now, you guys might already recognize these names. We've had both JB and Ruben on before, and very excited for today's collaboration. So, JB, I'll go ahead and start with you, and then we'll go to Ruben. For those that didn't see your previous episode, will you just give us a brief introduction on yourself?
Sure. I am JB Hawkins. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've been in real estate for about 16 years, and I'm a team leader here in Tulsa.
Awesome. Fantastic. And Ruben?
Hey, Ruben Garcia here in North Carolina. I do what I call real estate CIA. So C is consulting, I is investing, and the A is the agent side of the business.
Fantastic. And so you've got Oklahoma, Puerto Rico, and North Carolina here on the call. How did you guys initially connect, start collaborating? I know that you're coaching together now as well. So
yeah.
How did we connect, JB?
Well, I joined this company called EXP back in April through Micah. Micah introduced Ruben and I, and here we are.
Awesome. So you mean we're a collaborative group?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, today's topic, besides our traditional, Winners Wednesday interviews of top agents all over the globe, we really wanted to present a different perspective. So between the three of us, with, JB's background as being a top producer, and then Ruben, you're coaching agents all over the country. Between all of us, we've probably coached, trained, mentored thousands of real estate agents, and we've really narrowed it down to 4 principles and 4 mistakes of what agents, not just agents, but also top producers and even broker owners may or hopefully don't make in 2022. So I do want to kind of preface it with this. You're going to hear us talk about EXP because that happens to be the firm and the brokerage that we're all with. But these are really the 4 principles that could go, across the board at any real estate brokerage. So we're going to start with the first one here, which is really understanding the math and research behind why agents maybe get a little too comfortable at where they are right now or where brokers are. So I wanted to ask both of you, just kind of, getting in there and talking with top producers and brokers, where do you see the math and research playing a big role?
JB, you want to take that?
Sure.
We'll do ladies first, and then we'll roll right into it.
Sure. So I will tell you, from being a top producer to talking to a lot of top producers over the last couple of months, I think it's just simply top producers are very busy. They're doing the deals, they're in inspections, getting listings, writing the contracts. If you're in a position like me, you're running a team, you're doing all these things, and you're not paying attention to how the back end of your office is being run. You're not really running it like a business. We're like, oh, we've got a listing. Yay, we've got another listing. We've got another listing. And we're not paying attention to what I have found out in the last maybe 6 months is agents know their splits. They're very familiar with that 80-20 or 70-30, but they have no
50-50 in some cases, right?
Yeah, but they don't know that, oh, I'm paying the brokerage $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, $50,000 a year, whatever that number is. And so I think it's not slowing down and running it like a business and not being mindful of the math. It's just math. So that's what I have found, not only personally, but in talking to other top producers.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ruben, same thing?
Yeah. So in terms of the numbers part, I think you're exactly right. I think we get excited just because we're in the business, which awesome. And we go out there and we do what we do every single day, and we have a good time doing it. But there's a lot happening on the back end that sometimes we have to be the one that takes ownership of looking at. And I would just say, think about November numbers, right? November numbers. Make it a priority to go back if you do have a broker owner or you're in a boutique firm and ask them, like, hey, can you print out my numbers from year to date, November numbers? I got it in my calendar. And just see what it looks like, right? They say clarity's power. So just get clear on how much of the money that you're creating is going towards the cost of business. And maybe that helps you make a decision, maybe it doesn't, but either way, you're running a business and numbers are the language of business. So make it a priority. November numbers.
I love it. Ruben, I want to add something to that. When you say November numbers, it was actually last November of 2020. I sat down and looked at my numbers. And that's when I had this big aha. I was doing it for my CPA. But he was the one that brought it to my attention that I had made over, I have to take a deep breath, $100,000 to the brokerage. And I mean, I knew I was paying into the brokerage. I knew what my split was, but for it to be a 6 figures a year, you know, we're generating our own leads. We're doing the open houses. It was $100,000. And so once I became aware of that, everything changed. And so, yeah, November's a great time to do that.
So you said a really key word there. It's awareness, right? And I don't know about you guys, but what I found with my first brokerage, which is a completely different experience of where I am now with EXP, is they don't make it very easy to know your numbers. And, you know, I'd like to think that every brokerage has, you know, integrity and whatnot, but I don't know if they're not making it easy because they don't have the technology to support that, or they almost don't want you to find out. So JB, you said something that was really, really key there, was you brought your own awareness unintentionally that you were paying over $100,000 to your brokerage.
Yeah. And, you know, I loved the place that I worked. It was good culture. It was great. But every piece of business. So after my CPA brought that to my attention, I went back from like January 1st, 2020, and I started looking at where all this business came from. And it was business that we had created as a team. It was through our lead systems that I paid for. It was through other systems that I paid for. It was through our past clients. So it wasn't like, you know, I was paying that in and then I was getting something, you know, I was getting business from it. We were generating all of our own business anyway. And so it was just I'm so thankful for my CPA.
I'm thankful for your CPA too, because then we met. So now let's get into the research. So you brought awareness, right? It's about knowing your numbers, doing the math, having awareness of your business. Where I find one of the biggest mistakes is we don't do our research on the opportunities that's out there. And by the way, myself included, right? I was with my first brokerage for 5 years. I was very loyal to them. And I just had my blinders on. I was not looking for any other opportunity. And that probably cost me a lot of money and growth and helping other people. So do you see that agents and top producers and brokers, by not doing their research and just having their blinders on, is kind of where they hit the ball? They hit the mark?
Ruben, I'll let you take this one.
Sure. Yeah. I was just going to say, I mean, yeah. I mean, right. Like, I think you served a softball on that. The answer is, yeah, they're missing out on opportunity. But I mean, and that goes for all three of us, right? We should always be looking at new opportunities and new disruption. And if anything, maybe we don't make a move, and I'm not saying anybody make a move, but at least maybe you could pull something from what you've learned from that new opportunity and bring it into your own business. They say opportunity doesn't go away. It just goes to the next person, right? Mm-hmm. So you could act like that's the only thing in that moment that you could say yes or no to, and then it disappears. Nah, somebody else is going to capture it like they always do, and they're going to get ahead of the game. So yeah, I just talked to another broker yesterday. We started talking about NFTs and all this. And they're an investor and they love the virtual world. And I was just like, well, heads up, you know, and had a conversation with them. And they were like, I can never say no to opportunity. So let's just take a look. And that's all you're looking for, is an open mind, somebody who thinks for themselves. So yeah, 100% you should dive more into opportunity.
And I think, honestly, when I'm looking for an agent to partner with, because I think we're all in agreement here. We're not here just to bring on anybody to our organizations. We're looking at the right agents to partner with, because it is an investment. It's an investment, you know, financially, but also a huge time investment. And so for me, I'm looking for that entrepreneurial agent. right? And we think somebody that gets into real estate, well, all of us are entrepreneurial because we own our own businesses. Reality is that's not the case, right? If you don't know your numbers, I would probably argue, you may not be entrepreneurial, and it may be something that you need to really expand on. So when I sit down with an agent, and maybe they've got some misconceptions, or maybe they have some limiting beliefs or objections, but if they're entrepreneurial and they're open-minded, as Ruben just said, then that's when they get it, right? And they're always willing to look at opportunities. So what are the type of agents that you guys are looking for in your partnerships?
I mean, I think exactly what you just said, people that have that mindset, that are open-minded. First of all, Ruben, I would like to make a t-shirt of the quote that you just said.
You will do it, by the way.
I love it. It's going to happen. But I think that, like most agents, when they are thinking about their business, I don't think agents truly do research, me being very guilty of that. I said no to an opportunity for 4 years, not even really knowing what I was saying no to. I was just not open-minded. Nope, not doing it. And for what? I mean, why was I saying no to an opportunity? I think you should always be open-minded. And so when I'm looking to partner with agents, I don't want to just partner with anybody. I want to partner with people that are go-getters, that are driven, that are open-minded, and have that entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah, I just want to say, what's up, Tabitha? I just want to give love to the people who are out there supporting us and commenting. Share Tabitha with anybody that you feel could get some value off this. But I love the entrepreneur too, which I think we're already there. But there's something that's called go from E to P, right? And a lot of my people, what's up, Tama, will understand, or Tama, I hope I said that right. But okay. It's going from entrepreneurial to purposeful, right? Because we've all, I mean, if you got the blood of an entrepreneur, you've been selling stuff for a very long time, even as a kid. I used to sweep dirt off driveways to make money in my neighborhood that I grew up in as a kid. And so that's entrepreneurial, but how do you get purposeful, right? So that's when you got to sit back and just kind of pull your business out of yourself and look at it. Analyze it. Where are we going in 5 years? Who am I taking with me? Who do I want to be in business with? What do I stand for? You got to get a little bit more purposeful with that, and you'll get a lot more clarity through that too, of the decisions that you need to make for yourself. Saying that is definitely more of the investor mindset person that I like and that I enjoy working with, because they get numbers, they get the future, they get cash flow, they get equity. They get scalability. They understand business a little bit better than just someone who's an agent, who just entrepreneurial agent, which nothing wrong with that. But I can have a higher level conversation with someone who's turned from E to P and has more of an investor mindset.
No, absolutely. And we're all investors on this call, right? That's no secret. So there's no, who my ideal agent is definitely somebody entrepreneurial, understands numbers, and really is a running partner, right? Yep. Great book there. I look at it as a running partner. Who do I want to run with? Right. So we talked about understanding the math and research and looking and being open to at least exploring opportunities. What are some of the other biggest mistakes? What would you say is the second big mistake that you guys see?
I think, go ahead, Ruben.
Well, I was going to you go first and then I'll go after you.
I was just going to say agents getting very comfortable. Very, very, I think they get very comfortable in where they are, what they're doing. They're making enough money. They're not looking, down the road. They're not looking for the future. And so that's what I've noticed in a lot of agents that I've talked to, is they're just very comfortable. And I think that's not great. It's not a great place to be.
Yeah, as we know, that's definitely something that will stifle us, is getting too comfortable. Matter of fact, when I'm talking to agents and they're like, man, I just don't want to do that. Like, I just don't want to move in that direction. It just doesn't, it scares me. And I'm like, perfect. That means you're moving in the right direction. Like, it should scare you. Yeah. Like if you're just going through life in an average way, then you're going to get average results. You know, so you have to move, and you have to, what's that quote? Man, what is it? Something rewards the brave. What is it? Something rewards the brave.
Probably
But either
a shirt.
Yeah, I need a shirt, right? But it's moving into something that's a little bit more uncomfortable. But I think we know that. I think we need to, what we call PC, right? So anytime you feel like you need to move into something, or you feel like you have another goal that you want to hit, and you're not sure, we do what we call a PC. So we add a promise to it. So who do we make a promise that we're going to move in that direction? Right? If we're a little uncomfortable, then maybe I need to make the promise to somebody else, not myself, because I've let myself down many times. So you got to make your promise to somebody who could care less about your feelings, and just knows what you want to accomplish. And then the C, which is very much tied to action, is calendar. When are you going to get it done by? You made a promise to me. You said you were going to get this done. Now, when are you going to get it done by? The end of the week, the end of the year? So I think one of the biggest things, yes, is uncomfortable, but ultimately it's action. It's thinking they have to have it perfect in order to lean into it. And that's just false. That's not how life works. None of us understand what we're about to lean into. And so attach a PC to it if you want to be a little bit more purposeful, moving from E to V.
He's getting ready to break out into a rap over here, it looks like.
Ruben is my coach, by the way. So he is all the time. Our last coaching call, you told me, I don't care, get it done, not perfect.
Yeah, well, that's right. I think, as Ruben just said, a lot of us wait till it's perfect, and that's never going to be the case. You just got to get in there and figure it out. And by the way, I'm guilty of that too. 7 years ago, when I joined EXP in October of 2014, we have flipped hundreds of homes, anything from, single family to commercial to apartments. So we were doing well financially, and we were going to open our own brokerage. I pulled my numbers, right, JB? I brought some awareness to my numbers, and I said, why am I paying my brokerage this much money? And honestly, at that point, I wasn't utilizing any of the coaching or services that they provided. So selfishly, I was going to open up my own brokerage. And thank goodness, right before I did that, that's when I found out about EXP, and I looked at it. And I'm going to mention, we're talking about quotes here. One of my favorite quotes is, you can't save your way to wealth. And so I was going to open up my own brokerage to be 100%, to help other agents. But then I realized that was actually going to be a self-serving move, because I couldn't offer all the training and support and systems and tools that EXP provides. But also, more importantly, I couldn't provide that opportunity. So I think that's why a lot of brokers, like you guys know, Lewis Lavens, many other brokers that have aligned themselves with us, is because they realize the bigger picture, that this is a better opportunity for their agents. So a lot of brokers want to bring on other agents to do what's in their best interest. Well, what's in their best interest is giving them stock, giving them ownership, allowing them to expand outside of their borders, and then allowing them to produce more, because they're training with the best in the industry. So one of the things that I really realized 7 years ago was that was going to be a self-serving move for me to open up my own brokerage. In Oklahoma City, where I'm from, I see these brokers popping up everywhere. JB, I'm sure you see these in Tulsa, and Ruben in North Carolina. And I realized, if they would just, again, take their blinders off and look at what's in the best interest of their agents, they would realize the bigger picture and how much more of an impact they could make by aligning themselves with EXP.
Absolutely. And for me, once I sat down, when I decided to make the move, it wasn't like, oh, I saw it and I just moved. I have a team. I have 4 other families I had to consider. Mm-hmm. And we did almost 2 full months of research. But when I truly understood, when I took the time, did the research, put the pen to paper, it's really that, for me, it was that easy. Do the research, put the pen to paper. It was an absolute no-brainer, but I had to go through that process. And I think that's where a lot of agents, they don't have the time, they don't make the time. But this is my business and my livelihood. So it was too important of a decision to not invest the time and energy into it. And I see that Tama has come up with the quotes, by the way.
Yeah, she got it. That's
Here,
it.
is that it? Is that it? There we go.
Fortune favors the bold. It's so true, right? But there's thousands of these quotes, and ultimately, it's us that needs to move into the unknown. There's so many very successful people, and not just money or wealth, but just happy, healthy, and we listen to it. And we're like, yeah, it's a great idea, and they're like, oh, the weather's crazy, and then we just move on. Or we find or we build our own walls of why we shouldn't take action. And ultimately, that's right. Fortune favors the brave.
So let me ask you guys this. I mean, do you talk with agents, and I'm sure you do, that see the vision, see the opportunity, but they're constantly bringing up these excuses, whether it's, family or personal, because in reality, there's never going to be the right time. There's always going to be something that's in the way. How do you guys overcome some of those personal reasons?
I'll let you take that one, Ruben.
Yeah, I think it depends on the personal reason. Some have legit, some legit reasons. But I would say, 80-20 rule, 80% of them is just I think, at least what we have found is that they just don't have enough clarity in the next move, right? So if you don't know what it is, then ultimately we build fear behind it, right? Like if we don't understand something, we build fear. If we don't understand what this bug is that just landed on my shoulder, right? Freak out mode. Like it's just fear. But if we knew that it was a very harmless bug, we would just probably flick it off, right? Just clarity on what the next move is. And that's what I found. So it would be simple. Like I feel exactly where you're coming from. Others have felt that way too. What do you believe this next move looks like? And just have them kind of explain it. They're like, oh, Armageddon. My broker is going to come after me and put a car bomb, it's like, whoa. So you just you de-escalate it and you actually build the steps, you build the bridge to their next goal. You just fill that gap with what those action items look like. And it just builds clarity, which makes them feel a little bit better as well.
And I remember JB and I even had that conversation, right? It said at some point you're just going to have to rip off the Band-Aid. Yeah. At no point is there going to be the right time, especially when you're a large producer, right, Ruben? And you have got constantly, transactions in the pipeline. That's never going to go away. Whoop, losing my headphones here. One other thing that I just want to kind of piggyback off of this is I think a lot of agents miss the opportunity or come fear-based because number one, they're talking to agents who have never been with EXP about their experience with EXP, or they're talking to their current broker who, we all know doesn't want you to leave. So of course they're not going to, roll out the red carpet for you to walk out the door. And then the third one is actually agents who have left EXP that probably didn't get engaged in our platform, in our training, in our systems, in our tools. So they're going to miss out this huge opportunity because of somebody else's experience. So JB, at what point did you just rip off that Band-Aid and say enough is enough? It's, there's never going to be the right time.
Well, again, that goes back to, by the time I ripped that Band-Aid off, I had done the research. I had made the phone calls. I had called agents who had moved over. I was with Keller Williams for almost 9 years. And I saw these agents, these teams that I had followed going over to EXP. And I was like, what in the heck? I've watched them. They've been on stage at family reunion. Like I was all a part of that. And I called them. I called them. I called you. I bet I called you 20 times, you and Hamudi. It was too important for me because there was one point I got a little bit of FOMO and I'm like, I don't want to miss out on this. But I've got to make sure it's the right decision. So once I got clear, like Ruben said, on what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, I realized that where I was aligned, that was never going to happen. 100,000 a year. And we did 6 million more this year than we did last year. So wow. Our production is going to go up year over year. And so that was not a sustainable business model. I mean, I might as well just go give money out to everyone. So I couldn't do that anymore. So I think once I got clear on my goal, once I did the research, I just made the move. I knew it was the best decision, and I haven't looked back since. And it's really been the best decision that myself and my team have made in our careers. Like, we're so happy.
Well, and I know that was a big deciding factor for you. It wasn't just your career on the line. It was also, all the people on your team. So that was, it wasn't just about you, which is often the case with top producers running a team or broker owners. One of the things that I love, Ruben, that you always talk about is loyalty versus alignment. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, that's something I had to get clear with myself. And actually that came from a guy named Jake Dixon. Before I left my prior firm, it was a little bit easier for me, and I'll get onto alignment versus loyalty. It was a little bit easier for me because I ran a coaching program out of 2 offices. So I wasn't under production. I didn't have a bunch pending or anything like that. But I also talked to Jake about it, and Jake was like, dude, I don't care. I don't care where you're at. As long as you're going to be helping agents, then awesome. And I was like, that's a guy
how we should all be.
Corner,
yeah.
Right? He's in my corner. If he would have got upset or like whatever, then he's starting to just hold up a mirror to himself on how this is going to affect him, right? But he did great. But you're right, ripping off the bandaid too, and I'm going to get to alignment thing. One of my biggest people who came over signed me as a sponsor at EXP. Anyways, whatever. Her name's Shelby Osborne. Man, their team had, 50 pending. They had a lot pending. They closed like 300 homes that year. So, like, I don't want to hear anything, but they did understand the opportunity. They were all investors, by the way, investors before they got their license. They did understand the opportunity, and they understood the opportunity for their people. Their people could now have equity in something that they could partner with, right? It wasn't, they couldn't do that for them. And 5 Pillars is the company name. A few at the top, but not the team. Like, how could they distribute equity and dividends now? They couldn't do that. So now they had the opportunity to do that, and they didn't give it up, but they looked at that around approximately 50 pending, was like, it's still worth it. So at the end of the day, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, this is speaking to me, sit down with yourself and write a pros and cons list. Super simple, pros and cons of your next year, your 5 years, and your 10 years. That's it. And you'll get clear on what that next move for you is. And maybe that Band-Aid is a temporary pain for a long, long-term gain. But at least you've pulled it from here to on paper and let the paper hold the weight for you to build in clarity. And at the end of the day, once you've done all that, if you still feel you're loyal, maybe sometimes loyalty doesn't have anything to do with it, and only alignment has something to do with it. Maybe you're no longer aligned. Your goals are no longer aligned. How you want to support your family is no longer aligned with your current situation. And that's not a bad thing, right? What people like to do, the brokers, and not all, I love brokers, by the way. But some of these brokers, right, they want to pull out, you're no longer loyal. I thought you were a loyal person, and slam these cards on the table. And all it is they're trying to fish you back in. They're trying to pull the loyalty card. Just look at them and say, hey, listen, has nothing to do with loyalty, has everything to do with alignment. Yeah. Because that's the truth.
And that's the old-fashioned model, right? Unfortunately, brokers feel that way. It's scarcity versus abundance. Is they see that they're losing their top producers, they're losing agents, and at the end of the day, they're trying to hold on to that, and that's not what's in the best interest. So I love that you say that. I was very fortunate to maintain a friendship and a relationship with my first broker, and I think we should all be able to do that if they really had, in your best interest at heart. So we've talked about understanding the math and the research, being too comfortable and making enough money that you're just blinders on, not even looking for other opportunities. And then family or personal reasons. What is really the single biggest, the last one here, reason why agents and brokers and top producers completely miss out on opportunity?
Ego.
Can you say that again? That's a big one.
No.
Ego. What, Ruben, you didn't wear your shirt today, but what is your quote?
Well, you would have to say it because I tell everyone that I got it from you. At least that's what you mention all the time, is that ego is not your amigo, right? Ego is not your amigo. 100%.
So what does that mean in the real estate space, as far as opportunity? How does ego get in our way?
How does ego get in everything, right? Like, I used to go to a gym, and I didn't actually. My daughter went there to climb, but before you could even walk in, because they did MMA, they did jiu-jitsu, they did it all there, and it said, "Leave your ego at the door. It has no place in here. You're not going to grow here. You're not going to be humbled here if you decide that your ego is more important." So if you want to grow, if you want to be humbled, if you want to see new opportunity and align with new friendships and new partnerships, someone can sniff that ego out in a minute and will have zero to do with you because it doesn't serve growth.
It's not about you. That's one of our values on our team. Like, we don't allow ego. It is not about us. We just have same thing as the gym. We have to leave it at the door.
And I think that really goes to the first thing we were talking about, of doing your own research. A lot of agents won't even get to the point of doing their own research because that admits that they might not be in the best place for them at the moment. And in order to admit that, we have to put our ego to the side and say, okay, there may be a better opportunity. One of the other things that I really want to highlight here is branding. Ruben and JB, I know branding was really, really important to you. That's a big deal for a lot of brokers who have created their babies, and they feel like giving that up to EXP would be giving up their own brand. What would you guys say on that?
I don't think you're giving up a thing. I think you're enhancing. I think you're adding to your brand. I don't have a broker's license. I'm not a broker, but I have a team, and we've spent years and a lot of money branding that team. To put EXP enhances it. It provides more training for my agents, more support. It puts them as an owner of a company. There were so many things that, whether as a team leader or on a larger level as the owner of an independent brokerage, you're adding so much to give to your agents. So I think when people truly understand that, and if they can be open-minded enough to really just take a good look at it, they'll be very surprised.
Yeah, and I would just ask again, like kind of going back to what we were talking about prior, is like, what do you think that looks like? Like, tell me how this destroys your brand. Like, show me what you believe this next step looks like. Did we come in and burn your brand down to the ground and hang up an EXP logo? Like, what does it look like? What do you believe this looks like? Because if I look at this screen right now, I see Micah's logo, I see JB's logo, and I see one of my brands too. We all have our separate brands right now, and we're pushing the heck out of it. So, if there's proof, right? There's proof right there. And this is another Micah brand right here that I'm rocking. And then Micah might be, let's see. Yeah, she's rocking my brand. So,
well, hold on. There we go.
There it is, right? So it's like, come on, guys. Like, I just want to get clear and come from like curiosity. What do you think this thing looks like? And then look at the screen. Tell me if you see one EXP logo, right? But EXP understands, just like other firms, I will say that, understand that it's not about the brand. It's never been about the brand. The brand is not going to help get you more listings and buyers and help you. No, your people want to be in business with you because they know you and they love you. Most people don't even know what firm you're with. So if you believe it's the brand that's making you like the overall big brand and that's what's on your sign and hoorah, just ask your database. Come from curiosity.
Right. And that brings a great point. That's what I did 7 years ago when EXP was only 300 agents. It was EXP who at that point. Yeah. And I asked my big builders and sellers that I was working with, and they were like, listen, the general public doesn't care who you're working with. You have to find a platform that's going to accelerate that. And so that really brings me to my last question here for you guys. we're all partnering with agents all over the world here. Do you consider yourselves recruiters? Because I hear that over and over and over again. EXP is just a recruiting company.
No. No. No, not at all. My goal is, I don't want agents to make the same mistake that I did. I've been doing this for 16 years. I've been with different companies, and I let my ego get in the way. That's why I'm so passionate about this whole ego thing now, because it was my ego. And I think as agents also, we don't give ourselves enough credit. Like Ruben was saying, it's not that brokerage's brand why you're successful. You're successful because you get out there and you do the business, you work, people like you. People do business with people. So I don't think of myself as a recruiter at all. I simply want to share what I've learned, because it's changing the way that I wake up. It's changing the way that I do business. It's giving my family more opportunity. And the coolest thing that I have found with this company is I can offer that to everybody that I'm in contact with. It's not like it's very collaborative. It's not modeled like other brokerages.
So you mean to tell me, if you put your ego to the side, then you're doing what's in the best interest of kind of the greater good. And so when we have that opportunity, we just naturally want to share it with other agents, align ourselves, as Ruben said, and create those partnerships.
Yeah, it's a win-win, win-win. Like, it just keeps going. Like, everybody wins. And I think in this industry, that is such a hard concept for agents to wrap their minds around. It really is. It was for me in the beginning, and now once I got it, once the aha came, I haven't looked back. It's been a huge game changer in my real estate business and in the relationships that I've been able to build with other agents across the nation.
Yeah, and I'll just touch on that. I mean, I think we might get somewhat of a bad rep of that because of bad agents that are with the company, and they're reaching out and they've got no relationship with anybody, and they're just like blah, 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 what they call EXPing all over everybody, right? And like that unfortunately, there's bad apples in every single company ever, no matter real estate or insurance or wherever, and maybe that's where some of that comes from. But for me, I've only looked at this as how this has become a platform to get in proximity of more empire builders and more talent. That's all it has been for me. As a matter of fact, if you look at my database, if you look at the training that I do in EXP world, or just my people, it's talent search. So it's not even like recruiting, or like, I don't want agents who are just going to weigh me down, and broker owners who are going to just wait. I want talent. And so I'm on a talent search. I want people who want to grow things that are pretty big, cash flow big, equity big, big goals on personal stuff too. So it's not just all business, but that's talent. And so, yeah, I'm on a big talent search. So if you want to write talent search on me and hit me with a stamp that says talent search all day long. So it is what it is. And if you call it a recruiter, you call it a recruiter, but I call it a talent search, man. I just really think, and I think, even Glenn Sanford may have said this, or Grant Cardone, or maybe while they were both on stage, was like, if you got rid of all the money in the world, how could you succeed? And it would be through relationships. It would be through your circle. It would be for the people that we call multipliers, right? Multiplier. Oh, you can't really see it's the X, right? The multipliers that are in our life that push us to do better. And that's talent. So this company is just, what it's done is align me and put me in proximity with bigger talent that thought bigger than I have. And all it's done is open up more conversations for that.
Which, by the way, if somebody like Grant Cardone aligns himself in the whole 10X empire with EXP, I don't think we need to be concerned about branding, right? But back to talent search, Ruben, professional athletes, it's a good thing if somebody's out trying to recruit them. They're looking for that talent. That means you're doing something right. And so for some reason, we're the only industry where that's quote unquote, the bad word. I would say if somebody's reaching out to you, it's because you're doing something right, and take it as a compliment and be open to that opportunity. So with that said, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and like this, love it. Hopefully YouTube, if you guys are interested in learning more about reaching financial time and location freedom, go ahead and subscribe to all of our YouTube channels. We're going to do a lot more videos, a lot more content like this. And so as you can see here, we genuinely want to help other agents grow, because at some point, many of us have hit that financial ceiling, that financial freedom. Now it's about purpose, and it's about helping other agents do the same thing. So go ahead and like and subscribe. JB, Ruben, it was a pleasure. Anything else that you guys want to add to today's call?
No.
I'll just say share with somebody that you feel needs to hear this, or maybe it's your friend in your brokerage, or a friend in a different brokerage. I have people at different brokerages that send me people. They don't want to leave their brokers. They love it. And,
Yes.
you know, and all that, which is awesome. And I love that, but they still send me people because they understand where that person's mindset is. So if you just know somebody who needs to hear these 4 things, just share the video. That's all I ask.
Yeah, same. Very good, Ruben. That's why he's my coach.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank both of you. I know that you're super, super busy, but you know, we're all here to help agents. The topic of today was top producers and brokers, but we're here to help everyone. I mean, we've got programs in place to help from the brand new agent to the top producer to the team leader to the broker owner, right? So I think we've really aligned ourselves to be able to help any kind of agent. With that said, what is the best way to reach out to both JB and Ruben? What is the best way to reach out to you guys?
You can text me, call me. My number is 918-404-1416. That's the best way.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not putting my number out there. But you can reach me on all platforms at Proven by Ruben. And it may or may not pop up on the screen here shortly, but on all social media platforms, there it is. So, Proven by, there's a Ruben at the end, RUBEN, but just reach out to me, DM me. If you got any questions, just let me know.
Sorry, I think it cut off there, but yeah, I'll go ahead and put it in the chat as well. And then for me, it's just Maruwat, which is my last name, enterprises.com. You know, we thank you. We want to, you know, we're sincerely reaching out and doing this as a way to give back and bring awareness. We hope everyone has a great holiday season, and let's kick off 2022 and make this the best year yet.
We're already in 2022. It's a 90-day business, guys. If you're not thinking ahead, like, come on, we're already in what, February, March.
We're in March.
Come on. But have a great 2022.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Micah. Thanks, JB.
Thank you, guys.